Hello, my sweet little noodles. My name is Brittany, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be discussing my 2024 reading goals as well as my channel goals. I've had a booktube for 4 years now, and the first thing you might notice about my channel is I've decided to change my channel name. I decided this on the first of the year. It just came into my head literally the moment I woke up, and I went downstairs and I immediately changed my channel name from Books with Britannica to Brittney Reads. Now, there are many reasons that I decided to change this, but one of the biggest ones is the fact that everyone keeps getting my name wrong. Even though I specifically say my name in my intro on purpose, people do not realize my name is Brittany. And so I decided to change my channel name, and I think it's gonna make it a lot easier for my current subscribers and new subscribers. I also kind of wanted to get a little more serious about my channel. This is the year of being unserious because I feel like I want to get more serious with my channel, but I'm honestly gonna be putting less time into it. So it's kind of an oxymoron, but I decided to go ahead and change my name, not only because I wanted to change my intros and outros, but I also wanted to get rid of my Books with Britannica intro that has "It's Brittany bitch," because you cannot have any sort of obscenity in the first like 8 seconds of a YouTube video. So if I ever do want to get monetized and that ever becomes an option, I will not be able to monetize those videos. I'm really just explaining why I decided to change my channel name, but I really don't need an explanation. I changed it. I like it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Next, I've also decided to decrease the amount of books I plan on reading this year. In most of the other years I've been on BookTube, it's been 100 to 120 books, but this year I'm going with a 50 book reading goal, which is quite low for me, but I'm deciding to put less pressure on myself to read and just read what I really want to read. And I really would like to read more long books, more fantasy books, books that are harder for me to listen to on audio, which is why I can usually accomplish my goal of 120 books, is because I listen to like half of them. But if I don't listen to half of them, I need to read them physically. And that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm trying to get back more into physical books because I miss just reading a book physically. I feel like sometimes I do enjoy books more when I read the physical form versus the audiobook format. I feel like it's also because I'm a very visual learner. I don't listen as well, so I'm more susceptible to listening to something wrong and hearing the story wrong. And even when I go back a couple times and listen to it on a very slow pace, I still miss things. So reading physically is probably the number one goal this year, is just get back into physical books and take the time to sit with the book. But again, going from 120 books to 50 books is quite the change, but I'm here for the task. Also, I plan on having more weekly unthemed reading vlogs. And what that means is a lot of other creators like Reagan from Peru's Project and Chandler Ainsley, they seem to have a lot of weekly reading vlogs that do not subscribe to a theme. And what I mean by theme is like I'll have a sci-fi reading vlog or a random romance reading vlog. I will try to group the books together, and the problem is I get really burnt out on those books, and then the reading vlog is not even weekly. They take place sometimes over months because I'm trying to fit those books in somewhere, and I do get burnt out reading books back to back. And then I just feel like it takes so long between getting a video out that it's like frustrating to me having to hold on to all of those clips and then finally create the video like 3 months later. I also had a reading vlog last year that went 6 months, and that was my Red Queen series, where I read the entire series last year, and I didn't love it. I hated the experience, and I just need to learn to DNF books. That was the moral of that story. But let me get back to the reading vlogs at hand. What I mean by unthemed reading vlogs is I will just read whatever I want in an actual like week. You know what I mean? So it may just be a horror, it could be a thriller, it could be a romance, it could be historical fiction, and they'll all be in the same reading vlog, and it'll just be like my weekly experience. I can actually keep it to a week. I feel like that way I can kind of give you guys some like more content, but also give you guys just better content where I'm not trying to like fit something into a fucking theme that I might be bored of at this point. I'm much more of a mood reader than I realize, and I think that's something that last year really taught me is I am a mood reader, but I've been trying to force myself into not being a mood reader for years now. So I'm kind of going back to my first year on BookTube where I did more like weekly reading vlogs, or I didn't have as many reading vlogs and I just read a bunch of books, and then sometimes I had wrap-ups and I was better about wrapping up whatever I talked about. I do prefer reading vlogs because it's so much easier for me at the end of a day to edit a 10-minute clip versus a 30-minute video. It's just so much more daunting, and there's so much more editing that goes into like those very long sit-down videos. Sit-down videos are like me talking to you right now. Like I don't always have the mental energy, number one, to film a longer video and then edit it. And then on top of it, I'm editing in how many different books I want to talk about, especially for like a wrap-up, and I don't usually have my books. I usually borrow them from the library. It's very exhausting to continually like edit in books into every fucking scene. So yeah, that is why I tend to go towards reading vlogs. But I think in this year, I'm going to err on the side of more sit-down videos because those seem to get more views and a lot of people really seem to enjoy them. Like I enjoy sit-down videos. And maybe if I'm not stressed about making themed reading vlogs all the time, I can actually focus on making offhand content. Like when I did What's Better, the book versus the screen adaptation volume 1, that was a really successful video and I really enjoyed making it. It was really fun comparing 6 books against their screen adaptations, and I do plan on making more of those videos. So if I take that pressure off of me, then maybe I can actually have like the creative freedom to do these videos that I want to do and not feel the pressure to like read every other book on top of it. Something that I mentioned a little bit earlier was DNFing books, because I really want more 5 stars. Like, I'm so tired of having these reading years where I don't have that many 5 stars. Like last year, I read probably my least favorite amount of books maybe ever, even though I had a lot of like 4-star books that I really enjoyed. The majority of them did not give me those 5-star in love feels. And I think in part is because last year I was dealing with a lot of grief, and I'm still not ready to talk about it. It happened literally a year ago, but I lost someone very dear to me, and I'm still dealing with that grief, and it really colored my entire year. And especially looking back, like, I found it so much more difficult to enjoy things, and I feel like people don't talk about how grief can affect you that way. Like, I probably looked quite normal, I was acting normal, I had my job, I didn't really take too much time off, but like, it affected the way I enjoyed things, and it affected my day-to-day. Like, there were so many days I just went to bed crying, and I didn't really talk about it because I feel like talking about it honestly makes it worse for me. I feel like I already talked about it ad nauseum when it happened last year with my family and friends, and then I was just kind of like locked away in a box, and I just dealt with it on my own, which I think honestly helped me process it really well. But the fact is, I just didn't enjoy things as much as I used to. I feel like grief put a damper on me in general to where I just couldn't love things as much. I just couldn't enjoy them as much. It kind of took the joy out of life a little bit. And I wasn't expecting that to happen, but it did. And I realized that looking back now, that that's really what colored my year. And I think that's why I had so little books that were bad and so little books that were really good, because everything kind of just fell in the middle where I was like, oh, I like that. That was nice. And then I just moved on. So I'd like more 5-star books this year. I really would like to try to find books that I really, really want to read and sound really good. And I also want to do more soft DNFing, where I'm not hard DNFing a book, but where I might read a couple chapters and think that this book is no longer for me right now and put it on a soft DNF reading shelf on Goodreads. And I think that might be the way I'm going to go this year. I feel like that's the right choice, because I really should be doing that more anyway, because sometimes you're just not in the mood for a book. And again, with me now being a mood reader, I'm going to go with my mood. I'm also going to focus on making less videos this year. So my goal is 25 videos. I usually shoot for like 40 plus because I try to do it almost weekly, but I haven't had a posting schedule for like 2 years now because I did it for a year. I kind of loved it. I kind of hated it. And I decided that last year I was not going to do that. And then of course the whole year was basically derailed. So that was not happening regardless. So I'm not doing a posting schedule as per usual, but I'm doing 25 videos as my goal. And this is just a fun creative outlet for me because my day job is in finance. It is like the least creative thing you could possibly think of. And I really need a creative outlet at the end of the day that keeps me sane and helps me connect with other people and enjoy one of my hobbies, which is reading. Now, the biggest goal of this year is a little paradoxical, but I would like to read less. I would like to enjoy my life more. I enjoy reading and I think it's fantastic, but I really don't want to stress about my reading goals or my channel. I want to really connect and make friends in this area. I moved to Raleigh a year ago and I work at home, so it's very hard for me to find people to actually hang out with. And I've definitely made a couple of connections, and I think I'm going to really explore that and try to make more like in-person friends. I have a shit ton of online friends. I talk to people constantly. My Instagram is always blowing up to the point where my brother is like, please, for the love of God, turn off your notifications on your phone, because I'm always talking to people. I'm very social. I have a lot of fantastic friends, but none of them live in the area anymore. The one friend that I did have that lived in this area, she's now moving to a different country. So it's been really hard because I really want to go out and see people and do things. And it feels like a huge effort since I work at home and it's much more difficult. I don't meet people through work that live in my area. Nobody from my job lives in the area. So I don't really have anybody I can talk to from work. I've met a couple of friends I'd really like to explore that friendship with. And a lot of them, of course, we've bonded over books. So that'll be a really fun, easy one. But I just want to go out and explore life. I want to play a little bit more, especially after my year of grief. I'm done. I'm done grieving. Like, I am out to set fire on this world. Like, I am just ready to go out, explore, do fun things, listen to amazing music, eat amazing food, meet amazing people. Like, that's just the vibe of my 2024. Like, it's also a big, busy year, I'm sure, but I'm really going to focus on the social aspect. I'm going to focus on my health. I'm going to focus on making friends. I'm going to focus on my happiness. I'm going to focus on my spirituality. Like, I am just going to focus on me, and I'm going to do my goddamn best. With all that being said, I'm extremely behind on making videos. I still have to do my best books of the year and my worst books, which I do do mix in with my most disappointing reads. I also still need to finish a couple of reading vlogs. One of them is the Iron Flame reading vlog, in which I read the sequel to Fourth Wing, which I finished back in December, but I still have not yet filmed my thoughts and feelings on how I felt about the book, so I have not had a chance to close out that reading vlog. I also have a reading vlog where I read 4 more of my potential favorites and decided they should go on my favorites list. I'm still in the process of that reading vlog, and I don't like extending reading vlogs from year to year, but I'm just gonna let it go this year. I'm so tired of trying to be perfect all the time. It is exhausting, it's not obtainable, and I have 1 book left on that favorites list to finish, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up that book and then release that reading vlog probably in February. I also really need to film my Q4 wrap up because I watched a lot of really good shit in Q4, namely Saltburn, which I will talk about in that wrap up, but Saltburn, if you know, you know. So this year things might look a little bit different, but please give me some grace. I'm trying to figure out myself, my life. I'm now 30 years old. I really would like to figure out what I'm doing with my life. I need to figure out where I want to go with my career. Do I want to stay in finance? Do I want to find a more creative outlet? Do I want to move somewhere else? Do I want to live somewhere else? I have no idea. I am just going with the flow. This is the year of like me being flexible, me going with the flow, which is not traditionally my personality, but I'm just so tired of being so rigid about things and then things never working out. I think there's a quote that says something like, whenever we plan, God laughs. And that's exactly how I feel about the past couple of years. I'm a very driven, determined person, and I think that served me really well when I was in college. But after college, like, it just kind of feels like a free-for-all, and I'm here for it. I am stepping up to the challenge. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening to me rant, and please let me know your guys' 2024 goals. Maybe not even just for reading. I want to know some of your life goals, because maybe I will bring them onto myself. I am just trying to be a better person this year, work on my health, my happiness, the whole shebang. Thank you all so much for being here, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.